You believe you're waiting for time to pass, but it's time that's waiting for you. It doesn't run, it bends. And when your consciousness changes, the future changes with it. What moves isn't the clock, it's your frequency. While you think you're behind, the universe simply observes, patiently waiting for you to align with what already exists. You're not moving toward the future. The future is moving toward your vibration. Everything you desire is already real, but in another timeline, waiting for you to become compatible with it. Time isn't a road you walk. It's a field that responds. When your mind anchors in the now, the future doesn't take long. It folds. You're not a passenger of time. You are the one who bends it. Most people believe time is a straight line, that the past is behind, the future ahead, and the present only a bridge between the two. But that's an illusion created by the mind. You were taught to run, to achieve, to wait for the right moment. You were told everything has its time, as if time decided when you're ready. But time decides nothing. It only reflects your inner state. The mistake is living as if the future were a distant promise. That belief creates an endless loop of waiting. You say, one day I'll make it, and that one day never comes, because your vibration remains anchored in, I don't have it yet. The more you believe you need time, the more time you create between you and what you want. That's how most people trap themselves, feeding delay with the frequency of waiting itself. The quantum field doesn't understand calendars, it understands coherence. And as long as you vibrate absence, it responds with more absence. Time doesn't keep you from your dreams. Your consciousness does. When you feel incomplete, the universe simply mirrors that lack. You're not late, just out of phase. Quantum physics reveals that time isn't a line, it's a field. A space of infinite possibilities coexisting now. The past, present, and future are not separate. They vibrate simultaneously, waiting for your consciousness to choose which one to observe. Every thought is a vibrational command. Every emotion is a coordinate within that field. When you think it hasn't happened yet, you collapse realities where the desire remains distant. When you feel it's already real, you collapse the timeline where it has manifested. You're not moving toward the future. You're tuning into the version of yourself that already lives what you desire. The observer doesn't walk to the outcome. He calls it through vibration. Time bends to consciousness, because consciousness shapes movement. It's consciousness that decides where the hand of now rests. That's why everything changes when you change. Reality doesn't respond to effort, but to coherence. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. The universe doesn't test you, it reflects you. It sends back your own frequency, folded upon itself in the form of events, people, and synchronicities. There is no fixed destiny, only vibrational alignment. When you change your state of being, the timeline changes with you. You're not trapped in the past, nor must you chase the future. Both are within you, waiting for the moment you remember you are the center of the field. Time doesn't run, consciousness moves. Einstein said, time is relative, that the past, present, and future exist simultaneously, and the difference between them is only a matter of perception. He called time a persistent illusion, one sustained by the mind that believes it's separate from the whole. When you change the observer, you change the time it perceives. That's the essence of quantum physics. The collapse of the wave function happens when consciousness observes. In other words, the world doesn't exist before observation. It appears when you choose it. Joe Dispenza calls this coherence. When heart and mind vibrate in harmony, the field responds. The brain starts recording the future as if it were the present, and the body begins to live what hasn't yet happened, until the not yet disappears. Greg Braden teaches that feeling is the language of the field. The universe doesn't understand words, it understands vibration. That's why faith isn't waiting, it's feeling as if it's already real. And the Bible, thousands of years before quantum physics, already said, I am that I am. That phrase isn't poetry, it's spiritual science. It's the recognition that God, the field, exists only in the now, beyond the illusion of time. When you say, I am, the universe answers, yes. And that yes manifests as reality. The quantum field and the divine field are one and the same. One speaks in photons and frequencies, the other in faith and creation. Both describe the same force, consciousness observing and becoming the observed. You are not a being trapped in time. You are the consciousness that shapes it. Imagine time as a liquid mirror. Your emotions are the waves that distort or calm its surface. When there is fear, the reflection fragments. When there is trust, the water clears, and you finally see who you are. The universe is that mirror. It doesn't change first, it reflects. The reflection doesn't smile before you do. It simply returns what it sees. Every time you feel scarcity, the field bends and reflects lack. When you vibrate abundance, it bends back and reveals it. The mirror doesn't judge, it only responds. Time, like the mirror, has no direction. It merely shows your vibrational shape in that instant. When you align within, the reflection changes effortlessly. Nothing needs to come to you. You must become what the mirror recognizes. There was a man named Elias who, for years, believed time was his enemy. Everything he desired seemed distant. A home, a love, a purpose. He repeated to himself, "One day I'll make it." But that one day became an echo that followed him in silence. Elias woke early, worked hard, tried constantly. Yet every time he looked at the clock, he felt time slipping like sand through his fingers. Each failed attempt reinforced the belief that he was late for his own life. And the more he ran, the further everything seemed. One night, after losing an opportunity he thought was unique, Elias wandered aimlessly. The city slept, and he felt the weight of waiting. He sat on a park bench and looked at the sky. The stars seemed motionless, though he knew they moved at unimaginable speed. In that silence, something awoke within him. Elias realized that haste came from fear. Fear of not arriving, not being enough, of time ending before life truly began. But time wasn't going anywhere. It was simply waiting. In the following days, Elias began to act differently. Instead of chasing his dreams, he began to live them within. He woke up and gave thanks for what he couldn't yet see, as if it had already happened. He stopped saying one day and began saying now. He started to feel at peace in the present, and the present began to expand. One morning, while having coffee, he received an unexpected call. An old friend offering a partnership in exactly what he had always wanted to do. Nothing was planned, there was no effort. Everything simply aligned. Elias smiled, not in surprise, but in recognition. He hadn't attracted it. He had become compatible with what was already his. With time, or rather, with consciousness, Elias realized he had never been late. Life wasn't happening up ahead, but always around him, waiting for him to become the right observer to see it. He understood that the universe doesn't respond to waiting, but to vibration. That time wasn't taking him anywhere. He was the one moving time through his inner state. That night under the stars was the turning point. Elias understood that, like them, he too could stay in motion and still be perfectly still. He discovered that hurry is a form of doubt, and inner stillness the purest form of faith. Since then, Elias has never raced against the clock again. Not because he gave up on his dreams, but because he realized they already existed, waiting for his vibrational coherence. Time, he discovered, is not an obstacle, but a liquid mirror reflecting being in every moment. When he looked at his life again, the reflection was clear, serene, perfect. The universe hadn't changed, he had changed. And in that instant, the universe bent to his consciousness. Now it's time to bring this truth into your life. Time isn't what runs outside, it's what responds within. Change doesn't happen when the clock moves forward, but when your vibration rises. First step, stop thinking it hasn't happened yet. That phrase is a vibrational anchor. Replace not yet with already in motion. Energy begins to align the moment you feel the future as present. Second step, practice anticipatory gratitude. Thank what hasn't manifested yet with the certainty that it already exists in another timeline. Gratitude is the code that opens vibrational portals and bends time in favor of consciousness. Third step, live one day as the version of you who has already arrived. Imagine how that version thinks, speaks, breathes, and reacts, and then embody that identity now. The field doesn't respond to desire, but to coherence between what you are and what you claim to be. Each morning, before you act, close your eyes and declare, "I am the field, I am the now." Feel your body respond to these words. They aren't affirmations. They are commands of reality. You don't need to chase the future. You need to align with the vibration where it's already real. And when that happens, time stops being an obstacle and becomes a collaborator. It doesn't push or delay. It bends. Every manifestation begins with a state of being, and being happens now. You were never waiting for your future. Your future was waiting for you. The universe doesn't watch you impatiently. It simply waits for the moment you remember who you are. The field doesn't resist. The mind does. Reality doesn't hold you back. You are the one keeping it still, tied to old stories that no longer vibrate. When you let go, the flow returns. Time is not a river that carries things away. It's an ocean that responds to your inner state. When you change vibration, you change the tide. And everything that seemed distant comes effortlessly closer. The instant you surrender and trust, the field reorganizes. The impossible becomes accessible, and the improbable becomes natural. The universe doesn't work against you. It simply waits for coherence. You don't need to ask time to bring what's yours. You need to become the one who already possesses it. The future is not a conquest. It's a remembrance. Everything you seek already vibrates at the frequency of your I am. When you feel that deeply, time folds, space opens, and the impossible ceases to exist. Everything you desire already exists, in the version of you who believes. The future doesn't need to be created, only accessed. It's waiting for you, curved in silence, ready to respond to your state of being. Time was never the enemy. It is only the mirror of consciousness, showing the reflection you choose to sustain. When you change the way you see, the reflection changes. When you change the way you feel, time changes. Stop searching. Start remembering. Everything you seek lies within you, asleep as potential. And when you say, I am, the universe answers, yes. And that yes is the birth of a new timeline, the one where everything has already worked out. Breathe. Let this understanding become presence. Because in this very moment, as you listen, the field is aligning with your vibration. Be, become, receive. If this message touched you, write in the comments, I am the field. By writing it, you're not just typing words, you're declaring your vibration, affirming to the universe that you remember who you are. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that time doesn't limit, it reflects. Every awakened consciousness elevates the field for all of us. And if you feel called to deepen this awakening, there's a special resource linked in the description. A guide to help you apply these principles in practice, align mind and energy, and live in coherence with your true self. Time doesn't wait, it responds. And right now the field is listening to you.